What is the exact nature of the contagion?
It's deadly. It kills within 36 hours. One escaped convict was infected. He's dead now. The other man may be infected. He's on the loose.
Does anyone know how it's communicated? Whether it's a virus or bacteria?
No, we just know that over a dozen men have died from it, and it appears to be highly contagious.
Then you don't know much, Agent Mulder.
Why weren't we told the truth?
We didn't know the truth. What we knew would only have slowed you down.
But innocent people could be infected. What you knew could have prevented that.
How? In 1988, there was an outbreak of hemorrhagic fever in Sacramento, California. The truth would have caused panic. Panic would have cost lives. We controlled the disease by controlling the information.
You can't protect the public by lying to them.
It's done every day.
Hello and welcome to episode 50 of the Most Unwanted and X-Files podcast.
Sorry for just talking over the intro there.
It's fine. 50 episodes, we made it.
I know, that's crazy. That is crazy, isn't it?
I forgot it was the 50th episode until I looked down at my notes then, because obviously we're recording this. Maybe we should have prepared for this more.
Well, we've been preparing all week.
Yeah, well, exactly. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, we've had a weekly or a daily episode, leading up until this monumentous milestone.
Yeah, all the character bios.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you haven't noticed those coming out, definitely go back and check those ones out. Just little 10-minute podcast each day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun now. 50 episodes.
50 episodes. It's crazy. So yeah, it's 50 episodes. I mean, yeah, as you said, it's the including those.
Yeah, it's pretty good though.
Yeah, still,
and that's as I say, we had our year anniversary last month. We've almost come to the end of season 2 now. We're getting through this at a fairly rapid pace. Yeah, I mean, still loads to go, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I suppose we could either talk about what we're doing this week, or this is an idea that just popped on the top of my head.
Okay.
How we've changed in these last 50 episodes, I suppose, in sort of a summary of what's changed in our lives and how we think the podcast has changed in the last 50 episodes, I suppose.
Oh, I like it. Something a little bit different.
A little different. Yeah.
Okay. So are we talking about like our own personal lives or the podcast?
Yeah, I guess both, really. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So since we started recording this, I got a new job. Mm-hmm. We set a date for the wedding. I think me and my partner.
We both started like changing jobs, didn't we? Like,
did you? I think we did. Yeah, you definitely changed your job, but during the podcast as well.
Yeah. So right at the beginning. Yeah,
both got new jobs. You have got the keys to almost got the keys to your new house now.
Almost, yeah. So I'm going to be a homeowner, which is weird. Something you never think is actually going to happen.
Yeah,
when you're,
yeah. Well, I don't know, because when you're a kid, you would just assume that it's going to happen when you're 18. Do you know what I mean? Like you assume it's all going to happen right there and then, and it never does.
No.
But yeah, once you get it, you'll wonder how you ever. I mean, you've been renting, haven't you?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You sort of know. But once you get out of your sort of out on your own, you always do wonder how you even managed beforehand, don't you? And just get that little bit of free will back, I suppose.
Yeah, I can paint my own wall without being told off.
That's exciting times.
Yeah, what a time.
What about the podcast then?
Yeah, what's changed the podcast? I think definitely our confidence in talking has got better.
Yeah. I think we've just had a lot more fun with it. I think sometimes I cringe a little bit when I go back to the earlier episodes because I think we try to take it a little too seriously, and now we just tend to just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think that's better. I think it comes across on the episodes as well.
Maybe we should remake the first episode. So like if new people jump on and they listen to it and they go, this is rubbish. And we go, no, we're not that bad anymore. We're way better.
You know what? I would like to do, again, the problem with this is we've still got a lot of X-Files to do. So I don't think we should be starting rewatches already.
No, just remake the first episode. That one.
I'd like to do that. But what's the first episode again? Knowing what we know now,
yeah,
and like see how it differs. That would be quite fun.
I suppose if we don't have any content for like a what's it, like a Christmas special or like a holiday special,
go back to episode 1 maybe for one off.
That's not a bad idea.
It's interesting, yeah. But and then we'd be able to see how our opinions change.
And if anyone, again, it's just a better point to start off with because people will be. Then there's a massive drop off of quality. So, till about like episode 6, I don't know. I mean,
what if we decide to go through like half of season 1 again?
Okay.
Right? So we re-record season 1 to season 12. Or season
12.
Sorry,
I'm not doing that.
Episode 1 to episode 12. So we'll take a hiatus from carrying on. We'll re-record the first half of that series. But here's the kicker. After episode 12, we realised we've got a lot better than we was 6 months ago. So we re-record the other lot again.
Oh no. It's just a constant cycle. Yeah.
Just keep re-recording this one season.
We just keep re-recording. What's that? I'm sure I mentioned it to you, a podcast where they just keep watching the same film and reviewing it.
I'd love to do that, you know.
That's what we'll do with X-Files. We won't go past season 2. Just keep going back to the circle. I don't know if I could. I can't sit through space again.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would like to do that. That though, as I say, the movie one where you watch the one movie every week for a year.
I feel like you just either go insane or I don't know what would happen. Like if you tried it.
I can't. What was that called? That one.
I can't remember. I know it was like they like reviewed like Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 or something like that.
Yeah, and it was something. I think it was called like the worst idea ever or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But I know I did read an interview with them, and they basically said like like the first episode was like an actual review, and then they try and look more in depth over the next 5 or 6 episodes, and then after that. They just start like making up their own storylines and seeing how the film fits in with their own storylines.
That's the trouble. They picked a film that really there's not a lot of depth.
No,
it's sort of you can't really like dig into the greater meanings of Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. You know what I mean? But do you know what you can dig into greater meanings of?
Go on.
X-Files.
You can, yes.
So maybe we should talk about some X-Files.
Let's do that.
So this is episode 22 of season 2, entitled F Emasculata. It was directed by Robert Bowman, written by Chris Carter and Howard Gordon. The original air date was April 28th, 1995.
Yeah.
So we start in the Guanacaste rainforest in Costa Rica. This is twice we've been to Costa Rica in this season.
When was the last time?
Was it the first episode?
Was it?
Green Men.
Oh, okay.
It was Costa Rica as well.
Wasn't that Puerto Rico?
Ah, you might be right there. Yeah. I got my Ricos confused there.
Classic Rico ever.
Yeah.
It's Costa Rica, isn't it? In Puerto Rico.
Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Rico.
I made a right hash of that one, guys.
I'm not even sure whether it is Puerto Rico, to be honest.
I think it is Puerto Rico.
It just rings a bell.
Because I think the guy was Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
So who was speaking to? So
where is Costa Rica? South America?
I think it's South America. I think it's like an island, isn't it?
Think so.
And it's where like Jurassic Park was Costa Rica in?
No, that was. It's not Buenos Aires, is it? Where's? I don't know.
Yeah,
this is terrible. Why are we why? We're not a geography podcast. Let's just leave it to the professionals.
Anyway, this is in Costa Rica. Let's get on with it. And we see a man who we later find out is called Robert Terrence. He's lifting up this bark on the tree and he's watching these bugs crawl around. His bird squawking goes over to these vultures and he notices that they're over a cadaver, basically, of this warthog. He starts looking at these like boils, basically,
like
these
blisters or something like that. Yeah,
on the actual body of the warthog.
And the way this was being filmed, like they just kept on sort of like this sort of looming shot from just underneath his chin.
Yeah,
and I was like, "You're gonna get this in your mouth, mate. What are you doing? Be careful."
Yeah,
sure enough.
This guy did remind me a bit of Eugene from Greece as well. I don't know why he had the look about it. I feel like I've gone Eugene crazy lately.
You are wearing your socks pretty high.
Yeah, that's just me though. I like high socks. So he tries to extract this, we don't really know what it is at the start.
No.
He tries to extract something from one of these pustules, and lo and behold, it bursts, goes all over his face.
Straight into his mouth. Disgusting.
Really, really gross this shot is, and we see this a lot throughout the episode. It's just a really gross episode.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
We then see a bit later on, he's calling for an evacuation, and he's got some of these boils on his face, and then we cut to later on, 7 hours later, we see a load of troops making their way through this jungle, and they eventually come across something in the jungle with vultures over it, and we see that Torrance has died.
Yeah.
So, fast acting.
Yeah.
And then we go into the opening credits.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the opening?
It's interesting. Again, it looks like another sort of, what would you call it, a disease or sort of contaminant or something like that.
I mean,
we've had a few of those so far.
Yeah, I did quite like. We'll go into it later on, but I did quite like the science of this one anyway, because a conceivable thing that could actually happen.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. It was a good sci-fi story.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was looking forward to seeing what this was all about.
We then cut to Cumberland State Correctional Facility in Virginia, and there's a guard who's walking down this corridor, and he has a parcel under his arm, and he posts this through to a Robert Torrance. So again, I was a bit confused at first. I was like, wait a minute, is this beforehand? Is this a precursor? But the guy looks different. He makes a comment about this potentially being from the Baptist from Arundel. I don't know if that means anything, but anyway, he gets the parcel, opens it up. He finds inside this boil-covered piece of meat. Basically, it's like a leg. And he sort of screams at the guards that
this is throws it down.
Yeah. And then we see him look at the meat on the floor later on as it's sort of pulsing and moving around.
There's again those same sort of boils, the pus in it.
Yeah. We then hard cut to some doctors basically looking over him in a hospital, saying he was exposed 18 hours ago. And they seem surprised that it's incubated so quickly, whatever this disease is. We then see two other inmates who we find out are Paul and Steve, and they're tasked with clearing up his cell. And they talk about something going down in the infirmary, so to sort of sow that seed of this epidemic starting. But they say that the laundry pickup's still going ahead, and they don't expressly say what's going to happen. But
they're smiling about it, aren't they? And
if you've ever seen a prison film, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
To which Mulder even makes a joke about that later on. And Mulder and Scully arrive, and they're there to help find the prisoners. These prisoners that we've just seen, they've now escaped.
It was quite a long time before Mulder and Scully were on screen.
Yeah,
really. It took a while for. I don't know whether it's maybe I'm just sort of seeing it wrong, but it just seemed like ages before we saw them.
So usually we get to them as soon as the opening credits are done. We had a bit of a lead time on this one, but they're here to find these prisoners that have escaped, and they Mulder notices that there's people in biohazard suits, like these white suits on. And he also notes that it's a bit weird that they've been tasked with this. The FBI have been tasked with missing prisoners, because that's not usual protocol.
It's usually the US Marshals, isn't it?
Who do turn up. They burst in.
We know this guy, or actually, do you?
I know what he is in, because I looked at the cast list afterwards, but I've never seen him before.
Dean Norris? Hank?
Yeah, he's from Breaking Bad.
He is. He's one of the main characters from Breaking Bad. I was really happy to see him. Quality actor. And again, to be honest with you, I have... You should have seen him, because he's in Starship Troopers as well.
Oh, who does he play in that now?
He plays like one of the sergeants, I think. Isn't he the guy that's all beat up and he's letting them through, and he's got his legs missing and his arm missing?
Oh, is he the guy at the beginning who's and he says, "Oh, the army made me what I am today."
Yeah,
and he's got no legs.
Yeah, I think he is.
I think that is the guy actually. Now you mention it, he does look familiar.
But in Breaking Bad, he's quality.
Yeah,
he plays Walt's sort of half brother, who's this drug enforcement officer.
Okay, I did see that he played some kind of police officer in Breaking Bad, but I didn't know if he was a main character or anything.
Yeah, so I was quite excited to see this guy.
And he I don't know if his character's like this in anything else, but he's a cocky prick, basically.
Oh, that's all he plays. Like that's what he does best.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he basically tells them to stay out of their way. This is their job.
Yeah.
And after they leave, Mulder suggests that Scully should go investigate what's actually happening in the prison, while he goes to run interference.
This whole episode made me want to watch The Fugitive.
Yeah,
what a great film! The Fugitive.
I haven't seen that in forever.
So good.
Is Harrison Ford in it?
Yeah, Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones.
That's it. Yeah.
It's a really good film. That scene where
the water
duct, and what's the line? And he's like, so like he's got his hands up, and he's like, I'm doing the actions for everyone that can't see. So he's got his hands up, and he says, I didn't do it. And Tommy Lee Jones just says, I don't care. Yeah. And he jumps. Oh, what a film.
It always reminds me of Simpsons, that does, because there's a bit where, I can't remember what he does, but Milhouse is in the same place. I think he's like stole something from a shop, or they think he stole something from a shop, and he's there in the same place. But that's all I ever think of whenever somebody talks about Fugitive. I can't go back.
There was a sequel to that as well.
Fugitive 2?
No, it was called, I think it was called US Marshals. Tommy Lee Jones plays the same character. And I think Wesley Snipes.
Okay.
Blade, yeah. Not as good, but it's alright, it still does the job. Tommy Lee Jones is a great actor.
He's good in everything, isn't he?
I'm sorry if I keep talking about Tommy Lee Jones' film career.
Why? What else have we spoke about Tommy Lee Jones?
Fugitive?
Oh, I thought you meant in previous episodes. I thought you
No, just in this episode.
I thought you meant you just like constantly. Well, we need to go through the archives now. I want to see you constantly talking about Tommy Lee Jones.
Constant. Oh my god, it's a conspiracy.
He was talking about Men in Black in one. That's something you can do for future now. Just keep seeing if you can mention another Tommy Lee Jones film. We'll see anyway. We then see a rest stop in Virginia, and there's a camper van that pulls up. And this family get out. They all split up and go to the toilet. We see a convict who's hidden away in the toilet sneak down. They jump in the van and drive away and sort of whoop and holler as they drive, leaving this family on the side of the road.
The wife sort of just pleading with them to bring their home back.
Well, I think initially she thinks it's just it's the husband's just drove away.
Yeah, to be fair, you'd be a little bit shocked.
Yeah. And annoyed, because, like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You're just sort of stuck there. But anyway, we then come back to the correctional facility, the jail. Do we call them correctional facilities here? We just call them prison, don't we?
Prisons, yeah. I think it technically is called, like, a prison and correctional facility or something like that.
We see Scully talking to a Dr. Osborne of what we think is the CDC through this, like, glass pane. And he's trying to stop Scully from investigating, basically, but eventually he relents because of her saying that basically she could get all of the FBI down here if they wanted to.
Yeah. It was like a real battle of authority between these two, like who has the upper hand.
Exactly, yeah. And he,
in the end, he just doesn't have the confidence to back himself.
He backs down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And he tells her that 14 people so far have been infected with what he says is a flu-like virus. Now, I mean, I've had the flu.
Never had. It's more like a plague-like virus. This.
I was gonna say but like massive like pustules on your face. I've never had that. And he also says that it's killed 10 of the 14 so far. And she asks if the convicts who escaped could be infected. And he can't really answer at the moment because I think he implies that they don't know how it spreads as well later on. We cut back to the rest stop. Mulder arrives with these federal marshals. The woman that we saw earlier is crying, and Mulder's cell phone rings. He answers it. It's Scully, and she basically explains all about this contagion and how deadly it is.
Yeah.
And he also asks about the convicts and if they could have it. And we see that the convicts have actually killed the husband at this point. Mm. Like, he's just got a pool of blood under his head. So yeah, just bad guys all around, really.
Yeah, definitely.
We cut back to the prison, and Scully is in a bit of a war of words with, I think his name is man, what was his name now?
I didn't get his name. I don't think it mentions it.
It only mentioned it when I had a look at the cast list, and I forgot to write it down.
It wasn't mentioned in the episode. He's like superior, wasn't it?
Yeah, we think he's a member of the CDC at this point. We should later find out this isn't true, but initially we think he's a CDC member. But as he leaves, she picks up some gloves and basically goes to investigate on her own.
Yeah.
We cut to a gas station in Virginia, a petrol station, and we see this camper being filled up with petrol. And the cashier's reading a magazine, and it cuts to this house with a woman waiting by the phone. She's got a young son, and she answers, and it's Paul, one of the convicts from earlier, is calling this woman who is his girlfriend or wife.
What a rookie mistake.
I know, yeah.
Well, you don't call like your loved ones
yeah.
and relatives. That's obviously going to be tapped. You just don't do it.
I just say usually whenever you watch like these shows, like there's somebody sat behind them to keep the call going. They need to triangulate this. I'm surprised that didn't happen. But then again, they even said like that makes no sense actually. Later on, the marshal says, and I mean this is made to make him look like an idiot.
I was actually going to mention this when it came up.
We'll get to that bit when we come to it. But yeah, in my head I've just thought, hang on a bit.
US Marshal he is.
Yeah.
He's got his job, obviously as a US Marshal because he's good at his job.
Yeah.
And he didn't think to tap the lines of his relatives. That's like the first thing you would do. Like, what was he planning on doing? Just hoping to hear about it in the paper and then drive there.
Honestly, we'll come back to that in a second.
It was that. No, we will not come back to that.
We'll do it now.
We'll do it right now. The whole scene was written in to make Mulder look smarter than he is. Yeah. And I understand why you're doing it, because at the end of the day, you don't have to protect this character, this Dean Norris's character. You don't have to protect him because you're never going to see him again. Yeah. But there's no way he would be that stupid as to not tap the phone lines.
That's the thing. He sort of says we have no idea where they're going. It's like, well, you could have a pretty good guess of where he's going to go. Like, if he's got immediate family nearby, probably to them.
What he says, like 2 seconds before is, Mulder's like, so where do you think he's going to go? And he's like, I don't know, there's 12 roads. Yeah. So, like, just giving up. We might as well go home, please.
Yeah. No, never mind. He's off. It's only just dawned on me how ridiculous
honestly,
that is.
Really annoyed me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's carry on.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that bit later now, so it's fine.
Yeah, we'll skip over it now.
Or we'll do it again.
Double angry. We see the attendant go out to try and find who's pumping the gas, basically. That sounds weird saying. We then see him find Steve in the toilet, and he's on the floor. And you can see this infection's taking a hold of him now, and it's...
Well, he's got that boil on his face, and it's like... It's pulsing already. It's like... They're like... I don't know, it's like... The way it's like bubbling like a volcano, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Volcano, obviously, one of Tommy Lee Jones' best films, I would say. Just as a little side note to that.
Yeah. One of his best films.
Volcano's an amazing film. Do you not remember the bit with the woman in the water? And
that's Dante's Peak.
Oh, I always get them too confused.
You've made that rookie mistake.
Dante's Peak. Oh, I have, haven't I?
How many films are there out there you can easily confuse? Like, there's Dante's Peak and Volcano.
Yeah.
They both have scenes where people like sacrifice their own legs to help people.
Yes, they
Volcano,
do.
The guy jumps in the lava, doesn't he?
Yes.
What an idiot.
Yes.
No way. Bugs.
Don't they both have dogs in them as well that survive miraculously?
Yeah, because the dogs can never die.
Not in Hollywood now.
Not in Hollywood. Well, they can now. The rules have changed. Anything can die in Hollywood now. Bugs Life and Ants.
Oh, yeah. They're animated films, there's tons of them.
They're so easy to confuse.
Because Pixar just copy Disney.
Wasn't there like 2 films about meteorites hitting the Earth at the same time as well? It was like Deep Impact and Armageddon came in at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
What is it? Like, why does that happen? It's so weird, isn't it?
It's because you get... I mean, literally there is reasons to it, but like, it's because... Say for example, Pixar and... Pixar, which is obviously Disney, and it's not DreamWorks.
Yeah.
And because they know the Disney film is going to be so successful, they already just
piggyback off
it, and have something similar, so that it's almost guaranteed success.
because or people get the wrong one by mistake.
Yeah, honestly, it's true, and
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, you have a lot of those, but it's very interesting. But I think Volcano's superior because it's got the better star actor, hasn't it?
Well, Pierce Brosnan's in the one, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's no Tommy Lee Jones.
Who's the better singer? That's the question.
Oh, I've never heard.
Have you ever heard Tommy Lee Jones?
I don't think I've ever heard him sing. No.
Pierce Brosnan's not great, to be honest.
He's not ideal.
What I've heard.
Not in Mamma Mia.
No. Who would make the better James Bond?
Tommy Lee Jones by a mile?
The American man.
Yes.
Do you reckon? Okay, fair enough. Have you ever seen Goldeneye? It's classic.
That's all right.
But Volcano is Oscar worthy, is it? Anyway, let's get back on track.
Let's do it.
As this attendant's looking after Steve or investigating Steve, Paul comes up from behind and bashes him on the head.
Yeah.
We then cut back to the prison, and Scully's peeking through this window into the incinerator room. She finds these pile of bodies, basically, in body bags. Puts on a mask and some gloves. She goes to open one of the bags labelled 001 Torrance. And Osborn appears from behind her and grabs her arm and basically tries to stop her. Why the hell would you try? Knowing that this is such an infectious disease, why would you not go in there fully dead? I mean, she's got a mask and some gloves on.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to stop a disease.
There's a lot.
She's really rash.
There's a lot of this in this episode where it doesn't really make sense. Like, if someone told me that, someone's got smallpox in there, like, no matter how much criminal activity I think there is, I'm going to wait until I find out a little bit more before I go rushing in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing.
Because you're not just endangering yourself, you're endangering everyone you contact afterwards.
Exactly. I mean, I understand why they do it to further the plot, but looking at it now, it just seemed really irrational and really irresponsible of Scully to do this.
Well, that's the thing. She doesn't even wait to see, get permission or just get the go ahead. She literally moves heaven and earth to get there. Heaven and Earth, another Tommy Lee Jones classic.
So do you have a list?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm going to stop now.
No, Rumble Joe. What's Heaven and Earth?
I've never seen it before in my life. I don't even know whether he's a main character in it.
It's like he just plays somebody who works in a supermarket or something.
I've called it a classic. A modern day classic.
What do you get on Metacritic? That's special.
Wait, yeah, sorry. That's enough Tommy Lee Jones name drops.
As they're investigating this body in the bag, one of the boils bursts she did cut open one of the bags, but one of the boils bursts on Osborn as he's trying to seal it back up, basically. And he screams and runs away down this corridor. Yeah. He obviously knows that's it, basically.
Yeah, it's going to be horrible, actually, because that's you're going to die.
You might as well have just been shot in the face. It would be quicker.
Well, it's worse because you've got 3 days now where you know you're going to die.
Yeah.
What would you do? Without getting all I mean, it's a bit of a depressing question on a light-hearted podcast. You'd have to just end it, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I mean, no, I'd probably just try and
wait it out.
Wait there, yeah. Depending how bad it would get. If it was the point where it was unbearable, I'd be maybe just just put me out of my misery. But if I was could still, I don't know, watch Game of Thrones or something.
The last 3 days of your life and you're going to be watching Game of Thrones?
I don't know. I want to see how the story ends.
This is not even out yet. You're going to watch up to season 7.
Yeah. Well, I'll email the guys. This happens all the time.
Oh yeah, is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
So you've got 3 days, and you're gonna get a special pass to the final season.
Yeah, but they have to screen it in a box where no one else can get in because I can't infect anyone.
Yeah. That should be fun.
No, I mean that's literally the first thing that popped into my head.
Living your best life.
I don't know what I'd do.
Tash still waiting at home, knows nothing about it because you're not bothered to call.
Oh yeah, I should probably tell her.
Your first call was to Warner Brothers or whoever makes Game of Thrones. I don't even know.
Time is of the essence. I mean, she'd love it. To be fair, she'd be well, you are dying, but I am going to get to see Game of Thrones early. So it works. Things are roundabout.
Yeah.
We then cut to a gas station in the morning. I keep saying gas station. It's because it's written down.
It's fine.
Fighting the urge.
That's fine. Petrol station.
Petrol station.
It is technically a gas station because it's in America.
It's in America, yeah. So
it is a gas station.
I get away with it. We see this peaceful scene of these birds chirping. It's all quiet. The camper van's still there. And then all of a sudden, 3 blue police cars come speeding in. They all jump out, guns raised, searching around for these 2 convicts.
Yeah.
Mulder runs past, and
I find it weird that Mulder's involved in this.
Yeah.
Because, like, surely they have a system. Like, he doesn't know the rules of engagement, does he?
I guess not. Yeah. Oh my god.
You could vouch for me. I didn't. That word came off the top of my head. I didn't have a list there.
Didn't have a list, but I'm equally disappointed.
That's it. No more.
No more. Say that.
I find myself so amusing though.
We then see the Mulder finds the attendant, who we find out is called Angelo Garza. It doesn't really matter, but I thought I'd give him a name.
Yeah.
I like how I don't remember the guy's name from the CDC, the pretend CCD. CDC. I'll get it right eventually. But I can remember the gas attendant.
Yeah, a very important character. Imagine if, like, season 9 it's revealed that he's behind all the government conspiracy.
Yeah, he was a sleeper alien agent.
Yeah.
He's had his memory erased, so he doesn't understand he's an alien.
And we've called it because we remember his name. Will you remember his name next episode, you reckon?
Probably not. I'm going to be honest. Mulder makes a joke that the blow to his head probably was fine because of all the hair to cushion the blow.
Yeah.
Not the time, really. They explain about that he saw this man with boils on his face, and they conclude that it's possible that this attendant could have also been infected. And they realise that Paul and Steve have now taken this guy's car and left. Mulder suspects that he could have called his girlfriend, something the marshal missed, which we've spoken about.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that again.
We need to go over that again. Mulder calls an operator and asks for the last number called from that phone. A helicopter lands in the background, and this biohazard team jump out with this glass case basically, and they run over to where the attendant is and throw him inside and carry him away.
This was again just one of those things, and it shouldn't annoy me, and it does a little bit because it's one. I get it; it's not a major thing, but at this point, wouldn't the US they've not shown any ID? Wouldn't the US Marshals be well within their rights to just shoot on sight at this point? Literally.
Yeah, because they're taking
a helicopter has landed. Not even if you take away the fact that it's a witness, it's a kidnapping. Yeah. They've not shown any form of identification. Yeah. They're not responding to officers. The US Marshals should not let this happen.
Yeah, I don't know what the gun laws are for US Marshals, but surely if they tell them stop or we'll open fire, then I guess.
But they just let it happen. Yeah. It's really strange, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again,
maybe I'm thinking too much about it.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's one of those where it's it's done to further the plot, obviously, but then when you actually look at it in the real world,
it doesn't.
Which this works in really, apart from the alien stuff around it. It shouldn't happen. Yeah, no. I know what you mean. So,
again, just watching it, it takes me out of it because that's when I do start thinking about that, and then I don't like it because I like to be engrossed in the plot. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's strange. I know it's only a small gripe, but
it is weird, and there was recently something for a sci-fi game that I was sort of invested in. They announced this new thing for it that just looked ridiculous, and loads of people rightly said that it looked a bit ridiculous. And people's argument was, "Oh, this is a sci-fi game; anything can happen." And it's yeah, but in the world that they've built for themselves, the way that they're built up, their gravity wouldn't support what they've created. You know what I mean? And it does. It's sort of sometimes you just let it go because it's a story or whatever. But there's sometimes where you think, if you've built your own rules of this world and then break them
You've
yourself,
got to abide by them,
Yeah.
because otherwise it takes you out of being invested in that world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just something about this...
So I can understand that.
But then again, the US Marshals, as we've already found out, are idiots apparently.
that's true.
In this world, so maybe you know what I mean. It's just
we'll have to see. In future.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? It just and one of those things that annoy me.
The Marshal accuses Mulder of calling this in. Mulder says that he doesn't have any idea, and neither of them know who's called this in. Basically, but Mulder says that he has an address now for the number that was called. We then cut to this address, which is 925 August Street. And Paul and Steve drive up, honking the horn. Elizabeth runs out the house, puts her son down, and they do probably the worst thing that you could do. She doesn't know at the moment, but yeah, she runs over, embraces, and kisses his face off, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe don't at the moment. They go over to the car, as Paul says he's got somebody else with him, and we see Steve, and he's got all these boils on his face. And again, she just completely does not look after her own safety and decides to touch his forehead and say, "Oh, he's burning up."
Yeah.
Don't go near him.
You wouldn't, would you?
No,
if someone's got boils all over them, you'd be a bit careful.
Yeah. I'd just be like, "Whoa, what's up with him?" You know what I mean? Like, and then that's when somebody calls me prejudiced or something. I didn't mean it. We cut back to the prison, and Scully is on her phone in the incinerator room. We see her tracing this package that she's got that was sent to Robert, and she finds that the package was sent from Wichita, Kansas, which again doesn't mean anything to us at the moment. She calls Mulder and asks him if he knows anything about Pink Pharmaceuticals. Apparently the package was from them.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
So it was a large organisation that started this.
Exactly. She's worried that this disease could easily spread, especially if it's got out now to out of the prison. And Scully notices as she goes over to investigate the bodies again, inside the pustule that burst, she finds this bug inside it. We then cut back to the house, and we see Steve in a bed, and Elizabeth is sort of tending to him. She goes over to him, and he sort of pulls her close to him. And at this point, the boil explodes all over her face.
Straight in the mouth again, every time.
I know, it's just disgusting. She panics, runs into the bathroom, tries to wash her face and her hands. This is when marshals burst in and arrest her. But they scan the rest of the room, and we've noticed that Paul's escaped. He's already left. And we see the last shot in here is this kid crying, which I think it's implied that the kid will die from this infection, and it's like, that kind of sucks.
Is the kid infected?
I don't know. Because Mulder uses it as like leverage later on to make her or him at the end
comply.
Yeah. So I thought, maybe he's just telling the truth that the kid's also infected, but I don't know. It didn't really. I mean, they're not going to show anything like that.
No. Well, I don't know. They did the last episode.
Oh yeah, true.
So
all bets are off there after that one. Yeah.
From what I can gather, though, it has to be direct contact with the pus.
But the pus from there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. But then I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. You don't really see how the two got infected. You just know that they cleaned the room.
Which two?
The convicts.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
But they do mention later on that there was that piece of meat in there, so I guess they could have touched it. So
maybe,
I don't know. I'm not really sure. We cut back to the prison, and Scully is watching. Okay, she's watching through a window to this medical room as Scully is in the prison, and Osborn walks over to her and asks her to follow him. It shows that he's got boils now on his neck. And he says that he's not actually the CDC, and this isn't the CDC. This is actually Pink Pharmaceuticals, who he works for. And he explains about the man from the beginning scene that we saw. This I forgot his name now. It was Robert Torrance, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. So he explains about what happened there, and he'd found this disease or this bug. And he says this bug's called Fasciphagia emasculata, which is where the title comes from. Apparently produced a dilating enzyme that Pinkt was researching, but it also carried this parasite, and this is what the pustules are full of, this parasite larva, and this is how it spreads, but it also is deadly to the human immune system.
But I think the key takeaway here is the fact that if he's from the pharmaceutical group, then they're there to cover their own tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is basically what it's suggesting.
Yeah, that they're...
it does go into it, but we don't really know whether... Because it's implied later on that it may have been sent by mistake, but then maybe they was using the prisoners as guinea pigs.
I think the way they word it at the end is that the address thing was set up to make it look like a mistake if it ever came out, but it was actually them doing like a field
test. A test, yeah, which is not great. And of course they wasn't to know that two prisoners was escape, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it was meant to be contained and then get rid of everyone by incinerating.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, this pharmaceutical, this representative from the pharmaceutical company, been incredibly two-faced all the way through this. And, as the most two-faced I've ever seen since Two-Face in Batman Forever.
We get the joke.
Which was played by Tommy Lee Jones. It's too funny not to do.
I like how you just sort of like, you could see the cogs whirring in your head as soon as you saw him, like, Two-Faced, I can get this in. How do you do it? Do you work the film first and then try and work it backwards? Is that your plan?
Well, no. I come up with an idea mid talk. So I started talking about the pharmaceutical company, and then I realised that they was being Two-Faced, and I just tried to really just jam it in there.
All right.
So I don't at this point. I don't care about the quality of the podcast.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
just going for the jokes.
That direct quote. I'm going to use that for any. Don't care about the quality of the podcast. To end this scene, we see them looking at this stock footage of this larva, and it sort of explains that Scully might be infected.
Yeah,
because they don't really know.
No, because she was there when the
pus
burst. Yeah.
We cut to the FBI headquarters. Now this was an interesting scene because I'm not used to this with Monster of the Week or Disease of the Week in this case episodes. We see Mulder enter Skinner's office. He thanks him for seeing him, and he basically says that they've been set up. Mulder and Scully have been set up, and at which point we see Cigarette Smoking Man is also in the room. He's sat in the corner in the dark, just naturally.
Obviously,
sat in his black suit. He's a man in black, isn't he?
Oh, that's poor Luke. Now, come on. We've got a podcast to do, okay? Stop messing about and just get on with the show. Get on with the show, please.
I hope you like the 50 episodes that we've done.
The 50th and the last episode of Most Unwanted. You saw the thrill that you get.
Yeah,
it is thrilling.
As soon as I saw the opportunity, I just went for it.
Yeah, you got it.
Can't help it. He explains about the nature of this disease, and he also says that they were sent in without prior knowledge, basically. Mulder asks why they weren't told the truth, and he gets quite aggressive about this. Mm-hmm. And the cigarette smoking man starts explaining about this other outbreak of the hemorrhagic fever in California. Saying that the time when that broke out, they controlled the disease by controlling the information.
Yeah.
And Mulder says that he won't be party to lying to the public, and he asks Skinner, "What about you?" Trying to call him into bat for him, basically.
Yeah. He stays silent.
Yeah.
This brings up quite an interesting moral debate because as much as I don't like Cigarette Smoking Man, I can see his points.
Yeah.
And you don't want mass panic. That's the worst thing that you could happen. If there's a super infectious virus, the last thing you want is people panicking and
leaving the country or something
exactly,
like that.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, I've got to get away from it. I'll travel. And if they're infected, that's it. Yeah. So it is true. And even Scully says it later on. That,
all the way through the episode, it calls into question Mulder's search for the truth and at what cost he's willing to grab that truth.
Yeah, exactly. Cigarette Smoking Man says that he's already party to this. And he says that letting people be infected while he's not doing his job is, helping spread this disease. He goes outside angry about this, and he gets a call from Scully, who explains that they're in quarantine now.
Yeah.
She says that Pink Pharmaceuticals is covering this up, and obviously because of this, they've got to have ties with the government helping them do this. Mulder asks her to gather up all the information she can on this disease and this outbreak, because he wants to spread the information and leak it, basically. Scully argues, sort of like Cigarette Smoking Man did, that leaking this would just cause panic and lead to more deaths. She says that he needs to worry about capturing the fugitives. And we see Osborn at this time. He's looking at these bugs. And Scully looks worried, knowing now that she might be infected. He says that it can test if she's been infected by using this bug. It basically bites you, and it acts as it's an incubator, isn't it? And they can test the blood.
Honestly, didn't really understand. Like, I was under the impression that the bug would bite her if she was infected, but it wouldn't if she wasn't. But I didn't really understand what the test was.
I think the implication is that basically you get bitten, take a bit of the blood, and then you'll be able to see if I don't know, if it's infected or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But all we know is this is how it's tested. They sort of strap a bug to your arm, and then they can figure out whether you're infected there.
Yeah, and that's what she does. He puts it on with this like plastic case, basically. We see, we go to... Go on.
No, I don't want to derail. I saw an opportunity, and it was a stretch, to be honest.
Plastic case.
Do you want me to go for it?
I'm intrigued now how you can swerve this one.
Okay.
I'll be the judge. If it's bad, that's it. No more.
Okay.
I'll turn it off.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll go into this pretending like I haven't given the game away, okay?
Okay. And yet, plastic case and the usual...
I thought it was a glass case, wasn't it?
It was, some kind of glass.
To be fair, it probably was plastic, because if it's glass, there's a real chip hazard, isn't there? Which was the character in Small Soldiers.
That's pretty good. I like that one.
Tommy Lee Jones played.
Fucking Chip Hazard, man.
What a call.
That is
a call. Oh, God. The problem is that, here's the issue. This is our 50th episode, and I feel like me and you are having way more fun than the audience at this point.
Possibly. I mean, that might be always the case, though, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh, God, sorry. I saw it there.
To be fair, that was big enough of a leap that I can handle that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's good. It helps that I like Small Soldiers. I think
a great film. Great film.
Oh well, I don't know if it's great. Like if you watch it now, it's not that good. But as a child, it was great.
Well, I mean, it's one of those films where it's obviously bad, but it's still a good film. Like, there's nothing wrong with having guilty pleasure.
Stars in. David Cross is in that as well.
He is. Yeah. It's who plays the dad? The dad's quite a famous
Phil Hartman, isn't he?
Is that what his name is? Yeah, I know. I've seen his face in loads of films. I just don't know who he is.
Phil Hartman was like he's in loads of stuff because he was in loads of Simpsons as well, and then like I think he got shot by his wife or something like that.
Did he?
Yeah, he got
no
murdered,
way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, it's mental. But yeah, he was at the height of his career at the time, and then got murdered.
Bloody hell. Okay, interesting.
Sorry, a bit of a
downer.
Dark note. We'll carry on. We're at the Dwinwiddle County Hospital, and we see Elizabeth now sat in this like sort of glass chamber. Mulder enters the room, and he basically warns her about this disease, saying that she should be scared. I mean, knowing that it's a death sentence seems kind of mean.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
But basically, he's doing this because he wants to know where Paul is. She asks why, if this is such a danger, why isn't it public knowledge?
Reinforcing that moral dilemma that we've already touched upon.
Exactly. But after some questioning and sort of convincing, Mulder finds that he's on a buzz to Toronto. I guess, yeah. If it's either Mexico or Toronto you head to, I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose
depending on
so.
which of is closest, or Canada, I mean, not Toronto, just
just
Toronto.
It's either Mexico or Toronto. No other option.
What about Saskatchewan? Oh, I can't even say it. I should have picked an easier
Yeah.
place.
Like Quebec or something
Quebec,
like that, yeah.
Not Saskatchewan. That's it, yeah. Anyway. Well, you can't get them all. We then cut to the bus depot that Paul's at, and we see this woman at the ticket desk nervously sort of giving this man who's clearly dying a ticket in front of her. He looks around nervously, and then we cut back to the prison. Scully breathes a sigh of relief as she's obviously getting, or she might be getting this good news now, I suppose. Osborne collapses and says that this toxins from this disease have started spreading to his veins, and he asks Scully for some help. We see her put Osborne in one of these containment pods, and he then starts to express this guilt of what he's done with Pink Farmer. I keep calling him Pink Farmer just because it's easier to say.
Yeah. I think that's like the sort of abbreviation they use in the show as well.
He says that people have the right to know, and he says that if she doesn't find a way to prove this, then it'll just happen again because this is an isolated incident. We then see Scully extracting this blood from the bug. She looks nervous before checking the sample, and then she breathes a sigh of relief as she must get the all clear. Yeah,
and again, I'm not sure how. Like, I don't understand why she couldn't just have taken her own blood sample. I wasn't really sure how it worked. No. But again, this sort of thing doesn't bother me because it's sci-fi enough that I'm just like, I get it, it's fine, I can roll with it. It's just complete and utter stupidity that I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit that I have issues with. Yeah, I'm not too sure. We then see her go to tell Osborne, but his glass case that he was in is now missing. We cut back to the bus depot and we see this kid running in. He's all excited to get on the bus. We have this sweet moment with their family as she's going to tell him to see his dad or something like that, I think. Yeah. As he's walking on the bus, he gets grabbed by Paul, who asks for the time. Yeah. And he's looking in a very sorry state now. You know this kid's in trouble as well.
Yeah. As soon as he does this, he's getting kidnapped. Yeah. We then cut back to the prison and we see Dr. Orbach is his name, this is telling me now. He's incinerating the bodies and they start loading some in. Scully walks in and she says that she knows that they're not the CDC and they're working for this pink pharmaceutical. And she starts asking where Osborne is, as we see he's now dead and he's being incinerated. So, they don't seem to pull any punches. She threatens that she's going to release this story, but he basically knows they've got no evidence. Yeah. And he sort of says, no one's going to vouch for your story. The only person who could is now dead. Yeah. We cut back to the bus depot, and Mulder and the rest of the marshals pull up. They fan out and start searching for Paul. Mulder goes to speak to the ticket woman, and Mulder then comes back to the Marshal Tapia. And he says that he's on a bus to Toronto and he's definitely infected. Yeah. Scully calls and says that everything's under control at the prison and Mulder explains about Paul now trying to escape. She says that he's the only person who would have any evidence to provide to prove that this is a cover-up. So obviously now Mulder's going to try and take this guy alive to get a testimony. We see the Federals all on the roofs of the buses and looking around, and they start evacuating people from the actual bus depot. Mulder says that he wants to go onto the bus and talk to Paul, and the marshal sort of is hesitant, but he reluctantly agrees to this. Yeah. So Mulder gets on the bus, and the driver just tells him to sit down. And Mulder can't see Paul, so he asks where he is. The driver just, not realising, he's just told him, I'm an FBI agent. Maybe think, I'll keep it on the down low.
Nope, stands up and points.
There he is. He points out as he's getting out of the toilet, and Paul sees this and takes this kid that we previously saw hostage, and he's holding him right next to his boil. And I was like, oh no.
Literally centimetres away.
Yeah.
And this... The funny thing was, this kid's face, he just looked horrified. And I couldn't tell whether it was because he had a gun to his head, or whether he was like, oh, don't put me near that boil.
Well, yeah. Bit of both, maybe.
Maybe.
And at this point now, he realises that he's dying from this disease, Paul does. And he starts to explain about this package that they found in the cell while they were cleaning it out. And Mulder sort of talks him down from holding people hostage, and he gets everybody off the buzz, and eventually he lets go of the kid as well. And he starts asking more questions about this package and where it's from. And he sort of like, you can sense that he's ready to say something.
Yeah.
But just before he does, we hear a gunshot and a bullet come through the window, killing Paul straight away. So they've lost their only alibi.
Yeah.
After this, we cut back to the FBI headquarters. We see Skinner looking at this last specimen of this bug in a capsule, and it's now dead. And Mulder explains about the first patient being this guy from the jungle, basically.
Yeah.
And about Pink Farmer in general. And he says that they did all this to skip all the FDA trials of this diluting enzyme.
Mm-hmm.
Skinner says that they shouldn't release the details of this case. And Mulder says that covering this up makes him just as guilty as Pink Farmer is for the 18 deaths that it caused. Which, it's hard to argue, but again, it's like, what do you do?
Again, Scully mentioned something like literally a few moments where, how do you, if there's mass panic and then people die because of that, then you're to blame as well. So,
but I suppose after the fact, it's just like leaking that this company did this. So, I suppose in that situation, then it's better. But I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but then after the fact, are you not just sort of you're going in with no evidence? You're just creating panic for no reason. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. Skinner basically says that Mulder has no idea who he's dealing with. Mm-hmm. Scully enters and says that the package was sent to someone named Robert Torrance, and they basically did this just in case as like a fail-safe, so they could blame it on a postal error. Yeah. It's been sent to the wrong person. This is how it started. And Mulder realizes that they were set up basically to discredit them if they ever did try and expose this truth.
Yeah.
And he gets angry at this, and he asks where Skinner stands on all this. And Skinner says that he stands on the line he keeps crossing.
Yeah.
So again, we just see this again. He's on their side, but he's also not. He's fighting back and he's trying to be a boss. He's trying to be the boss. But yeah, it's a difficult position. They go to leave, and Skinner tells him, and he says, "As a friend, watch your back. This is just the beginning." And then we get this zoom into this bug to end the episode. So that's it, really.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was one of the best episodes.
No.
Like I said, I think that the main thing for me was just the things that kept on happening that didn't make sense, but it was just to further the plot. I understand why they did it, but for me, it just took me out of it a little bit. I wasn't invested in it. But there was things I liked about it. I like the sci-fi things behind it that, with regards to like the sort of how the infection spread, and I loved that little sort of moral dilemma going throughout the sort of second half of the episode. Which about the is it better to tell the truth or to keep the truth for everyone's greater good? Yeah. And I did enjoy that side of things. So yeah, I mean, run of the mill. I didn't think it was great. Didn't think it was bad.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about you?
I quite liked it, to be honest. Like, not like massively, but I like the story behind it, because again, this is something, to be honest, that could happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody's testing a disease, then this could plausibly happen. I liked how quick paced it was as well.
It was quick paced.
It seemed to keep jumping between the scenes, so it felt fresh. And I like that tie-in that Skinner and Cigarette Smoking Man were in it, because this is the first time we've seen them in a Monster of the Week episode.
Yeah.
Because they usually just stick to the alien mythology. There's not much character growth in it, so that was a bit of a down point. It was just more of just them, but it was a nice, fun, like a side episode, I suppose. That's all I can say on it, really. So now it's time for...
Luke's production notes.
While Emasculata and Pink Pharmaceutical are fictional, the show was inspired by the fact that pharmaceutical companies do send researchers the world over looking for unique plants or animals that might prove to have medicinal use. There you go.
Thanks for that one.
Initially, the show's producers were worried about releasing the episode around the same time as the film Outbreak, a movie in which a deadly contagious disease spreads in a California town. In the end, however, they realised that the two entities were substantially different from each other. There we go.
Really sort of digging into the sort of the sci-fi aspect of it. But again, I think that's when sci-fi is best, when it sort of blurs the lines between what's actually possible and what's not. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
Like I think that tends to be when sci-fi is believable, and then you can get involved in it more.
That's the thing. We've had all these like different like paranormal stuff happening, but then this one is just a disease. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can believe it. It's on the same veins as the one with the murderer. What's his name now? I can't even remember. The death fetishist guy.
Oh, I don't remember his name now.
Yeah, I can't remember. But basically, that's just an evil man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's sort of that similar kind of thing. Notably, the cigarette smoking man appears in this episode. His appearance in standalone or Monster of the Week's episode was unusual, as Chris Carter preferred not to mix the show's overarching mythology with its self-contained episodes.
Do you think this was done because we're coming up to the finale?
I think so, yeah.
Just to sort of linger and just to sort of show the overall threat.
Yeah, that they're still there in the background, whether we're not dealing with that
exactly,
or not. Yeah. The exploding pustules were carefully rigged to burst on command. Makeup supervisor Toby Lindala created a device that was connected to the fake saw by discrete tubing. When the device was activated, the saw would explode. Filming the scene with this device was particularly arduous. As Lindala later noted, in one scene, I was jammed underneath one of the bus seats with these extras basically stepping on my head.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. What it takes to be crew of a TV show, I guess. Stood on.
The things you've got to go through.
Yeah. The X-Files director, Frank Spotsnitz, remarked, when we saw the pustules bursting on film, we just laughed because of how just over-the-top grotesque it was. Which I can understand.
Yeah,
it
there
is a bit...
There was bits in this episode where it was just... that's the best description I can give.
It's just really gross. But the Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve in North Vancouver stood in for the Costa Rican jungle. This location had previously been used for the season opener, Little Green Men.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's where I got confused with Puerto Rico.
Maybe.
I'm sure they use the same look. Both the gas station and the bus station use the same set, which is actually a redecorated car dealership located in Delta, British Columbia.
Mm.
And that's it really this week. There's not that many production notes. It doesn't even mention... I read somewhere else that some of the cast returned, like in... I think Elizabeth was in another episode from earlier on.
I didn't recognise her.
No, I didn't either. I think she was in... Is it Firewalker? Or Fire... the one about fire.
It's possible, yeah.
I can't remember. I don't know if it was Firewalker or if it was the one with the guy who kept setting people on fire.
Yeah.
It was one of those two, but I don't...
No,
Again,
I didn't
she probably played a really small part as like in the background or something.
Yeah, I suppose. So, no, I didn't recognise her from any other episode.
No, but I didn't know any of that, so I just thought I'll leave it for now if it's not important.
Yeah.
But that's that for this week. Do we have any feedback?
Yeah, we got a couple more tweets with regards to our episode of Humbug. Mm-hmm. We had Augusta get in touch and tell us that this is one of her favourite shows, Humbug, which was, I can, again, like yourself, I can completely understand that because it's such a left turn for the X-Files.
Yeah.
And I'm inclined from things that I've seen online, just little comments, I'm inclined to think that they do this more often in later series where you have a little bit more comedy episodes.
Yeah, I'm glad they do just because it breaks it up a bit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Especially after the one last week.
Yeah, exactly. We also had a tweet from Ray saying that she had fun listening to us guys talk about Humbug. It's a favourite among the fans and her. And she says it's one of the funniest and most original. I was laughing so hard too from the start during the funeral scene, which is where I, in particular, just burst out laughing at that at that funeral scene. It was just the comedic timing of Duchovny was just superb, really good. But yeah, that's it for this week. with regards to the feedback.
Okay, yeah, so I suppose that's it for this week then. Next week, we're looking at an episode titled Soft Light. Again, I've no idea. That sounds like it might be a bit more of an alien-esque one, Soft Light, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
It's hard to tell with the episode titles.
Basically, we've just gone for the fact that there's light in it.
yeah.
And assumed.
Yeah, well, that's our motto, isn't it? So we just go for it. So, yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us, Facebook, Twitter, email, Instagram, any of the links below.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, I suppose, how are you going to say goodbye this week, and in what language of the world?
I'm going to change it up a little bit this week.
Okay.
I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm going to leave... Well, it's a language we can all get behind. I'm going to leave on a quote from a great man.
I as soon as you said I'm going to change it up, I was like, oh no.
I'm going to leave on a quote from a great man.
Yeah.
The great Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
And it's a sentiment we can all get behind. Yeah. I think we need stuff like this to bring our audience together. We're all one, aren't we? Yeah. So this is a bit of words of wisdom from this great man. Yeah.
Is he a great man? Should we preface that just in case he's done anything?
Great. No, he's definitely a great man.
Okay.
So the quote is as follows: "I'm kind of pleased with myself that I've got a tailor on Savile Row. I'm 68 years old. I deserve it. Goodbye, everybody."
We cut back to the FBI headquarters and we see Scunner. Who's Scunner? We see Skinner.
Scunner. That sounds like an insult. I don't know how. But it sounds like you Scunner.
We see Skinner then looking at this last specimen. Fuck me.